Greetings, YouTube. 2 days ago, there was an article in the New York Times about children hugging in school. Talking about the fact that the children have even broken the hugs into different categories: a friendly hug, emotional hug, what have you. And that some schools have banned hugging, which of course has done nothing to stop the hugging in the least, just driven it underground and made it clandestine. Banning something is never a good way to teach children not to do it, because they're just going to think now, because the adults have banned it, it's more important that we do it. You'd think that after almost 300,000 years, adults would have figured this kind of thing out. But I'm not really understanding the reason for the ban. I can understand teaching children that they have the right to tell others not to be touched. Completely illegitimate. The concept of no is something we should be teaching all students, all children. No is a complete sentence. There isn't any argument, there isn't any discussion. It's a final, distinct phrase. And if we taught children that, no, they can then decide for themselves if they do or do not want to be hugged. Frankly, I don't know many kids that don't want to be hugged. I can understand they don't want to be hugged by certain people, and maybe even under certain circumstances. Maybe not by their grandmother in front of all their friends. They might find that embarrassing. But people should be encouraged to contact each other physically in a non-threatening manner. And I have to admit, a hug is, I consider to be relatively non-threatening. I hug my friends. Male friends, female friends, kids. I very rarely instigate the hugs myself because I respect other people's space. We were at a friend's house last night, and her son was going to bed. I think he's 8 or 9. And he hugs and kisses his mom goodnight. And then he walks up, stands in front of my wife, and he just stands there. And my wife is like, "What do you want?" And he just wanted a hug. So she hugged him and said goodnight. And he came to me, and I gave him a hug and said goodnight. I gave him a one-armed hug because I was holding a gecko in my other hand. But that's all he wanted, a hug goodnight. And that's what I gave him. And when we left that last night, my wife hugged her friend, I hugged her friend, we parted. Hugging, I think, is healthy. It's a fairly non-threatening way of contacting another human being. And I think if people hugged more, genuine, sincere hugging because they want to hug each other, then we'd be a much happier race. But false, insincere hugging, like the air kisses you sometimes see amongst the rich and powerful, is pointless. If you're not going to do something for a genuine, sincere reason, don't do it at all. Being insincere is never good for yourself or anybody else. For you, you're kidding yourself, you're lying. And no one else is ever going to be fooled that you actually feel sincere when you're acting like you don't. But I think that everybody would be better off if we hugged more. You know, the old phrase is, if you got a problem, hug it out.